Democrats are just getting roasted on social media today on July 27th of 2025. Dude, they're getting roasted every single day. I mean, come on, let's be real. Let's start with this one. Senator Reverend Raphael Warnock. Republicans in Washington are intent on making you pay even more for your health care. Because of their cuts, families will see huge increases to premiums next year. I'm fighting to stop the premium hike because health care is expensive enough as it is. Oh, yeah? Well, what do we have to say about that down here? From Fugger Button. I've had 5 doctors since Obamacare. You can keep your doctor. By the way, with all the prerequisites in your name, should you not have bishop, minister, priest, or pope in the mix? Just Magalicious, darling. Your hubris will be your undoing. Let's see, next one. It's great that you are fighting against high premiums for healthcare, but to be clear, this is what Republicans voted for. They voted to stop the following, and you can read it for yourself, to hold a pride parade in Lesotho, for gender equality and empowerment hub, for electric buses in Rwanda. Democrats wanted to send $500,000 to Rwanda for electric buses. I would say one single electric bus. $500,000 for Peruvian biodiversity, and also almost $1 million to fund social media mentorship in Serbia and Belarus. Also climate resilience in Southeast Asia, Latin America, East Africa. Let's see, some aid to make considerate, or to aid more considerate of sexual orientation and gender identity. And it goes on and on. $3 million for Iraqi Sesame Street, $3.3 million for civic engagement in Zimbabwe. Let's see, $18 million to improve gender diversity in the Mexican street lighting industry. What the fuck? $21 million on wind farms in Ukraine, dude. They wanted to send $21 million to build wind farms in Ukraine. That is absolutely diabolical. Doesn't it cost like $1 million for just one of those turbines? I would hardly call that a wind farm. All right, so let's move on. From Badly Wall Drop. Where are you going to find the money? If I find your hand in my pocket, I reserve the right to cut it off. Absolutely. We're $36 trillion in debt. I think we're actually approaching $37 trillion in debt at this point. Because of you and your colleagues. Fix that or shut up. Next one, shut the fuck up. Democrats made us pay more for health care with the Affordable Care Act. You have no room to talk. All it did was give insurance companies the right to dictate our care. Government and insurance companies need to get the hell out of our health care, and you need to resign. Yeah, I mean, some of us, we might remember once upon a time before Obamacare even existed that we actually had good health insurance compared to what we have now. Actually, great health insurance compared to what we've got. I remember once upon a time. If you were an inpatient at the hospital, you had to pay $250 flat. That's it. $250 flat. And often that included all your follow-up visits too. And your follow-up radiology visits, and also your medications and all that other fun stuff. $20 to see your PCP, $35 for a specialist, $50 for immediate care, $100 for the emergency room, just $100. That's it. $100. That's all they charged you as the patient, $100. Doesn't matter what you had done in the ER. That's what it cost everybody. Not everybody, but that was very common insurance back before Obama happened, to say the least. So, yeah, it absolutely fucked up our insurance industry to the absolutely absurd degree. So next one, the government is the reason it's so high. The only thing you can do to fix it is to get out of it. Absolutely. Stop insuring illegals. Yeah, that's a good start. Our healthcare became horrendous under President Obama. Working class Americans can no longer afford healthcare. Now, only the very rich and the very poor get good healthcare. Still waiting on you and Senator Ossoff's solutions to the $36 trillion debt Biden's Congress, or $36 billion rather, not trillion, billion debt that Biden's Congress stuck us with. Your crying about healthcare solves nothing. Hey, wait, I thought you Democrats fixed the healthcare crisis with the Affordable Care Act. Oh, yeah, an utterly costly failure. So, and it just goes on and on. Like, every single one of these is just roasting the shit out of her. Or out of him, I mean. So, let's go to the next one. And let's go to her. Let's go to Pocahontas. Elizabeth Warren. So, Trump is greenlighting Paramount's mega merger after they bowed down and gave him millions. Sure looks like bribery and a way to bear down on anyone who criticizes him. That goes right to the heart of our democracy. Oh my God, our democracy.
It's also about dominance over the press.
Yes.
So it's about, obviously, it's about Paramount, it's about CBS, it's about ABC, Stephanopoulos, it's about the Wall Street Journal.
It's about the big mega corporations.
Publishing a story about the Epstein files that Trump didn't like. And so he initiates
smoke and mirrors, ladies and gentlemen.
Giant lawsuits. as a way to dominate and bear down
They want you to look away from
on
Tulsi Gabbard.
anyone who criticizes him.
That's what they
And
want.
corruption is terrible.
Yeah.
But trying to bear
You're right,
down
your
on the
corruption
media
is
so
terrible.
that we don't have an independent media, that's the end of our democracy.
Oh, you fucking retard, dude. We haven't had an independent media in forever. They're on lockstep with the Democrats and the deep state and the establishment and our fucking federal government. All right, so anyway, didn't you lie about your heritage, Liz? Why should anyone believe a word that comes out of your mouth? That's a serious question, Liz. Yeah, Pocahontas. What say you? Your obsession with Trump is beyond creepy. You should be focusing on serving the folks in your state. Instead, you're engaging in petty political nonsense. You're a complete fraud. If we keep talking about kings and billionaires, people won't find out. We stole their tax dollars. Absolutely. You deleted your post. Oh man, dude, this is wild. Here, let me see if I can make this bigger. It's not gonna let me, is it? Oh, fuck. Damn it. Hold on. All right, let me see. I'm gonna do the next best thing. I'm just gonna zoom in from here. Yeah, it's gonna scroll around, but you gotta read this. Hopefully you can read this. I know a lot of you watch this shit on your phone screens, so I'm doing the best I can. So anyway, this says, why aren't you yelling at CA California Dems? Stealing charity money? Over $1 billion stolen. Oh, that's right. You did too, you thief. So this says, this is from Elizabeth Warren. To help support the communities around LA being devastated by wildfires, you can split a donation between the LA Fire Department Foundation and United Way of Greater Los Angeles. 100% of your donation will go directly to these organizations. Now, readers, they added context to this link. This is not a link to charity. This is a link to a Democrat fundraising platform. They take 3.95% of all transactions. Holy shit, man. These people are fucking evil. You can donate directly to these charities, LA County Fire Department, and so on and so forth. Yeah. So secure.actblue.com/pricing. Uh-oh. Yeah, that's not good. You probably shouldn't be donating to Act Blue if you're trying to help out with the California wildfires. I mean, that should kind of go without saying. All right. Oh, man, I'm screwing this up. All right, here we go. All right, let's rock and roll. Next one, Elizabeth Warpath Warren, Pocahontas with her tomahawk and her beads and her firewater. I don't exactly agree with the bills. It should have been Andrew Jackson, if you ask me, since he was the first Democrat president, after all, you know, Trail of Tears and all that. So the next one, Tyler, you lied about your ethnicity to get ahead in life. Which one is more unethical? Nobody cares. You don't get to keep your own propaganda. WHORE. You show me an American ghetto, I'll show you a place where Democrats are in power. And we all know that. Oh, do we know that, don't we, folks? Oh, shut up, Pharmahontas. Pharmahontas. Haven't heard that one. All right, we are not a democracy. Here you go. No, we're not. We're a fucking republic. That's what we are. We're not a democracy. We're a constitutional republic. I mean, maybe the House, that's got some democracy wrapped up in it. But no, we are a constitutional republic. That's what we are. It's what we've always been. Of course, Democrats know that, but they like democracy because it rhymes with Democrat and because they're a bunch of socialist pigs. All right, anyway, fake chief like fake truth. We call it lies. People in glass teepees should be cautious where they throw their stones. All right, Liz Warren is such a buffoon. She can't lead, so instead she dissents, divides, and whines. No good ideas, no solutions, just bad vibes. Vote this lame ass out. $37 trillion in debt, and she contributed and watched it grow. Pay off your debt, Liz. Pot calling kettle black there, Lizzie. You're posting this on X, which is independent media. Democrats have bad policies. That's why your team is losing. Yeah, that's and she does. She just keeps posting on here day after day after day. Sometimes a cigar is just a cigar. You point out pictures in the stars that no one else can see. It may look like a bribery to you because you want to see it. Next one, aren't you a paid pill pimp for Pfizer? Probably. You sit on a bed of lies. Is everyone from the Pfizer reservation like you? And don't you think he knows that's how you would look at it? You aren't too smart there, Pocahontas. Proof Jerome Powell is a criminal. Stop trying to cheat all the time then, LMAO. You must have missed 60 minutes last season. I'm looking at a video of two morons. Dude should have been canceled a long time ago. Yeah, absolutely. Let me guess, you need an investigation so you can funnel that money into your offshore account. Trump. Where you elected to talk about Trump? Retire. You are old and out of touch. Let 60 down call the shots. And I'll just do one more here. So that's not what happened, liar. But you are a Marxist. You are a communist, so you lie. I'm looking forward to your eventual imprisonment for seditious conspiracy or more. I mean, I think that's not going to happen. I think that the deep state still has a lot more power than we think that they do. So, yeah, these assholes are not going to fucking get locked up if you ask me. All right, so let's go to the next one. Senator Mazie Hirono. In their nightmare budget bill, Republicans voted to raise grocery costs for 40 million Americans who receive SNAP benefits. So much for this America First agenda. Now, I could give my commentary on it because I do know the right information when it comes to this nonsense, but we're just here to just read the roasting. So, Connie A., the climate change tax placed on tourists visiting Hawaii will drop tourism, leave it to a Democrat-run city to fuck up their biggest revenue stream. That's way too many Americans on SNAP benefits. For one, the federal government shouldn't be handing out any welfare whatsoever. On providing welfare, I am for doing good to the poor, but I differ in opinion about the means. I think the best way of doing good to the poor is not making them easy in poverty, but leading or driving them out of it. Yeah. I mean, it's like the old saying that you could either just give someone a fish or you could teach them how to fish. I mean, which one's the better option? Because if you just give them a fish, they'll just keep coming back for more, demanding more at some point. I mean, you'll give them a fish and then they'll come back and ask again. And then somewhere down the line, probably not too soon after that first or second day you give them a fish, they're just going to start demanding you give one. Anyway, 40 million. Is that how many illegals you actually let in? Your fault. Resign. Yes, we cut off the illegal aliens. Good. We should be cutting everybody off because the U.S. Constitution does not give Congress or the federal government generally any authority to rob working Americans to give to pieces of shit who shouldn't even be in this country, and that includes lazy Americans or drug or alcohol-addled Americans. There is no power delegated to the federal government for that power, but you wouldn't know that because you've never read it, and you're not even a native-born citizen yourself, you piece of you-know-what. Hey, man, they said it, not me. They said it, not me. I guess I am verbally saying it, but I didn't write the shit. I'm just reading it. It's hilarious. It's hilarious, man. They're getting roasted. They're getting absolutely obliterated. They're getting fucking bodied. The big, beautiful bill is old news. Let's move on to all of the information released about the destruction inflicted upon all Americans by your party. What can you tell me about your conspiracy? I mean, like I said, they're trying to stick with the Epstein thing because they don't want us to look anywhere near what Tulsi Gabbard's been talking about the last couple of weeks, especially after she told the White House press corps that the DNI is referring Barack Obama himself to the DOJ to be criminally investigated. Man, that is absolutely nuts, isn't it? Good. And I hope they actually go through with it this time. So if you have SNAP free food, does the price go up when you swipe the card? And those of us who pay with our earnings, do we get to pay less? Yeah, from free to get a job. There goes more of your support. They start providing for themselves. They stop voting Democrat. Yep. Those billionaires are breathing a sweet sigh of relief getting that no tax on tips. Yep. Can you tell us on which page it states this? How did they legislate higher grocery prices, you absolute buffoon? Exactly. Democrats have one agenda to offer Americans: hate Trump. Everything else they say is a lie. 100%. That is absolutely true. So far, one of the best comments so far. First, since you became a legal adult, have you ever made unwanted requests for sexual favors or committed any verbal or physical harassment or assault of a sexual nature? I have a feeling they know the answer to that. All right. You are an idiot. They raised the cost of groceries for SNAP users only? Yeah, really, good point. That's a good point. You mean they lowered the benefit amount, don't you? Absolutely. Yeah, they're lowering the benefits. In fact, aren't they cutting them off after 2 years? I think that's what the Trump administration's getting, or I don't know if that was in the big beautiful bill or not, but I know that's what they were working on doing. They were working on maximizing the length of time you can take SNAP benefits to 2 years. And I believe the majority of the country is all for it. Because people who get it, they should only get it if they truly need it temporarily to get them across the hump. Congrats, you used words. It's obvious that you don't understand what they mean, but I like to congratulate retarded people on simple accomplishments. It makes them feel good. So what's the Democrats' plan after just having power for 4 years? 19% approval rating. Let me guess. Trump, ... Maisie, you are on the list of dumbest people in Congress. Yeah, and then there's another one. My opinion is irrelevant. Hirono's a spiritual animal. Dumb. All right. I think we're getting to the point where I probably should move to the next one. Interesting take. U.S. grocery prices reached record highs in 2025. That was under Trump, clearly. And then that was not Trump, clearly. Yep. All right, so let's go ahead and move on to the next one here. So this next one's from Rep. Ted Lieu. Lieu. I'm bad with names. I'm always bad with names. Always have been. Always will be. We should have a tax policy that helps all Americans, not one that primarily benefits the rich. The Republican passed big ugly bill is a scam. Oh, it's such a scam. Oh my God. Oh my God, dude. You're a scam. You're a scam, Ted. You've always been a scam. No wonder this is your voting base. They've got mental problems. Uh-oh. Oh. Yep. A lot of them do. What is it? Gender dysphoria, gender dysmorphia, whatever. I mean, I'm not saying that's what these two individuals have. I'm just saying that that's a documented clinical mental illness, otherwise known as transgenderism. Transgender. All right. Dan in Hawaii. Top 1%, 43% of all Fed income tax. Top 10% pays 74% of all federal income tax. How much is fair, Rep. Ted Lieu? Bottom 50% pays less than 3%. Yeah, dude, this is just common knowledge, man. I mean, people have been saying that for so many years. It's just propaganda. The whole tax the rich bullshit, it's all propaganda. It's all propaganda. Plus, they don't mention that a great deal of our taxes, they don't come from individuals. They come from corporations. They come from companies. They pay a lot in taxes. Oh my God, do they pay a lot. Given that 50% of American taxpayers pay less than 3% of the total income taxes, that is pretty freaking considerate. I'm guessing they pay less than that in capital gains tax. What more do you want? I pay a hell of a lot of tax, but I get the same services. This is screwed up. We are on the edge of bankruptcy. What I want is more fairness in tax, and I want cost deductions and let the savings pay down the debt. I fully support dropping most federal departments, agencies, and get the funding and focus on defense and security. Yeah, which, by the way, we're up to almost $1 trillion. We're at about $960 billion that our federal government has to pay on interest on the debt, just the interest on the debt. So if the national debt stops moving, if it just parks at $37 trillion, and let's say it just sits there for the next 20 years, we have to pay $960 billion a year for the next 20 years, and it won't change. Basically $1 trillion, just on interest. So I assume those who were holding American debt, I'm sure they were sitting fat and happy, and they're like, oh, no, don't pay down the debt. Don't pay it down. No, keep our money as long as you want. I mean, it's basically what credit card companies say, don't they? I mean, they don't want you to pay off your credit card. They want you to keep it maxed out so you could just keep shoveling that interest money into their laps for forever. And that's what's happening to our national debt right now. Too many people don't know that, but that's absolutely happening. $960 billion a year. That's where we're at, and it's only going up. Trump just raised another $5 trillion, so we'll see what happens. Anyway, the states can do the rest, and where scale matters, they can form shared service organizations reporting to them and funded by them. Support the Convention of States as they will make sensible amendments to the Constitution like term limits, balanced budget requirement, and restructure D.C. I mean, yeah, in large part, I am definitely for the Convention of States, and we're pretty close to it. What is it, 2/3, I think, of the states have to agree to convene. It's been a while. It's been like 5 or 6 years since I read up on it. But when I did read up on it, I just remember nodding my head constantly like, yeah, man, this is such a great idea. We definitely should do this. Unless, of course, Democrats have 2/3, which they don't. But that would be terrifying in that case. All right, so let's move on. Let's move on to the scam that you and your Democrat Party used to assault the American people. Because of your open borders, we must now spend billions to deport immigrants, be they legal or illegal. Democrats have passed bills and used public programs to steal from taxpayers. Yep. So your party has had 12 of the last 16 years in the White House. Why didn't you fix the economy, healthcare, inflation, infrastructure, education, taxes, credit, also credit card interest rates? Why? Absolutely. 100%. Ted Lieu, Democratic House, California. His estimated net worth is almost $4 million, by the way. Makes you wonder. Bob's right opinions. Can you tell me what page of the bill that is on? I'm having trouble finding it. Yeah, well, I'm sure that we all would probably have trouble looking for it. Your party failed Americans for 4 years. How much did you pay in taxes last year? Yeah, probably none. We are renewing an old tax policy that's amazing for all Americans. It's called tariffs. Absolutely. Amen. Little lying Ted Lieu is back. Yes, we could implement a sales tax system and get rid of federal income tax, or at a minimum, have a flat rate across all incomes. That sounds much more fair. Blah, blah, blah. 19% approval rating. That's what Democrats received in their latest approval rating based on a poll. Offhand, I can't remember who ran the poll, but they were some progressive liberal media outlet that ran that poll, and they found out that Democrats only have a 19% approval rating, which is the lowest in that poll that they ran in 35 years. That's the lowest in 35 years, 19%. You got to love it. All right, so let's go to the next one. Oh, Hakeem Jeffries. This ought to be fun. Republicans should be providing relief to families whose lives have been devastated by historic flooding. Instead, they are trying to rig the election by gerrymandering the Texas congressional map. These extremists are unfit to govern. Uh-oh. All right, let's see what we're saying down here in the comments. Obama is Muslim by birth, so allegiance to evil supremacist Muslim Brotherhood. 1,400 years, Muslim invasions equals supremacist cult. Investigative project. Okay, well, I mean, I don't know if that's exactly related to what he said necessarily, but okay. We're all pedos. PDF files. Who went to Epstein's Island? Yikes. And there's Gavin Newscum. Ruined this once beautiful state. I did that. Extreme moron. Uh-oh. But you retarded shitlibs told us put elections were safe and secure. I don't know what that told us. Our elections were safe and secure, I'm assuming. You know, just auto text, I'm assuming. Or talk to text. Were you lying then or now? Look who's talking. All of you Democrats are thieves, corrupt, lying thieves. You come in the office, you were $44,000 in debt. Now you're a multimillionaire, you fucking hypocrite. You are a fucking clown, and shove your dumb liberal extremist cuck insults up your ass. Why so corrupt groups can steal the money like they did with the Palisades money? Talking out of your ass again, dime store Obama? Remember this one by Democrats? They tried to blame Republicans because they ran out of money and couldn't help North Carolina. Yikes, man. Yeah, there's some headlines for you if you want to pause it real quick. All right, let's move on. Democrats should be repenting their sins on Sunday, but instead they are trying to further divide the nation. Primary these fucks 2026. God, you are a fucking idiot. It must hurt to be this stupid in life. Dems ignored North Carolina, Hawaii, East Palestine, and Louisiana. Or L.A., not Louisiana. What the fuck am I talking about? That's NC, North Carolina screwed me up. All right. Wow, you were stupid. Over 100 dead and many still missing, and that's your post on the Texas floods? You're a fucking worthless tool. This quote fits you and all communist Democrats perfectly. Quote, Democrats are unmoored from our founding principles, end quote, from Mark Levin. We can't hate you enough. Wow, this is almost as stupid as Karen Bass blaming ICE for not letting people rebuild from the fires. Yeah, I mean, I'm telling you, man, these people are fucking brain dead. This is in your district again. More violence. Why is Brooklyn calling for Antifada, Hakeem? Yeah, I saw that. They blocked off a part of an interstate highway with that bullshit. When the military has to step in to squash the terrorism in your neighborhood, you will officially be finished too. I muted this? Yeah, there it is. Yeah, see, I told you. Insane. Muslims in Brooklyn, New York are blocking a busy highway and chanting globalize the Antifada. And they all have these extremely expensive-ass cars. That's like a $200,000 Mercedes, probably more than that. I can't remember. I think this one might be a Porsche, like a Porsche GT or something. And a whole bunch of cars behind them. Just all these like six-figure vehicles that they've got blocked off the interstate, wearing their Muslim outfits and, yeah, screaming all that shit. Is Hakeem trying to get ahead of DNI Gabbard's D-class of Dems rigging the 2020 election? Sounds a bit guilty, Hakeem. Rigging, extremists, gerrymandering. These are terms much more closely related to the Dems. Yep, absolutely. And that's what I'll keep saying. Wait for it. It's Sunday. Fake Christian Muslim Hakeem will have a Bible Quran verse for you, but pushed and supported this for 4 solid years to get money in his campaign account. Uh-oh. Yep, transgender or gender reassignment surgery, if I'm not mistaken. Is that what they're calling that? Or sex reassignment surgery? What did Democrats do for those in North Carolina? Absolutely nothing. I mean, they stonewalled them. They tried to block everything they could in terms of trying to get aid. I mean, there were a lot of people in there. They didn't get FEMA help for months. Probably not until Trump got in, as a matter of fact. Let's see. Democrats have been redrawing districts forever. I'm in rural Alabama, and we're all Republican, yet they went out of their way to include my area in a Democrat district to null my and everyone else's vote. It needs to be corrected. Blame others for that of which you are already guilty of. That's what Democrats do all the fucking time. All the time. Blame others for that of what you are already guilty of. So let's go to the next one here. I've got quite a lot on here, so can't be going on for too long. I probably won't get through all these. I'll just go through it until I essentially run out of time. But this one's from Congressman Choi Garcia. The horrors of mass starvation in Gaza are a policy choice, one in which the U.S. continues to be complicit as it provides Israel with military weapons and diplomatic cover. The U.S. must join the global movement to end Netanyahu's war on Gaza and demand both the entry of humanitarian aid and viable delivery mechanisms to distribute it. Look, any of us who are paying attention know exactly what's going on there. I mean, it rhymes with, Hamas. Anyway, I don't want to get in. I don't want to get into the nitty gritty. I'm just reading the roast. So Trump delivered the food. Actually, they'll probably make a point of that in the comments. Almost certainly they will. It's the UN puppets of the globalists that want a monopoly on food distribution and want the suffering in Gaza to continue to perpetuate their Gaza starvation narrative. The food is rotting and the UN is allowing it. Yep, sitting there rotting. Absolutely. There is no starvation in Gaza. You're falling for Hamas propaganda. Yep, very, very possible. The U.S. has proposed a mechanism for bringing aid to Gaza through GHFU updates or GHF updates. Gaza Humanitarian Foundation updates. The UN must abide, and if it will not, needs to be forced. All right. I don't know. Whatever. Y'all are dead set on chasing DSA Jew haters to shore up your base at the expense of centrist and non-Jew hate obsessed normies. I take it. All right. Glad you are calling for the immediate unconditional surrender of Hamas and the release of the hostages, which is the only way forward. We must demand Hamas surrender. That is the only viable mechanism for humanitarian aid. All right. Someone just kind of advertising their page or their profile. It's a policy choice of Hamas and the UN, propped up by the Qatari sock puppets in our government and media. U.S. taxpayers are feeding them. Imagine feeding those who slaughtered Americans. Ooh. Let's see. How about the Palestinian government, Hamas? Don't you think they can end the war by surrendering and returning the remaining hostages? Without a surrender, the war between Hamas and Israel will never really end. Yep. Go deliver it yourself if that's how you feel. The administration gave $60 million for food 2 weeks ago. No thank you. No media coverage. Wow. Wonder if that's actually true. I mean, it very well could be. Hamas is not only holding foreign hostages, they are holding the entire population of Gaza hostage. Yet so many people and heads of state are too biased or stupid to understand that. All right, so tell it to Hamas. Let's see. On and on, prove it. All right, let's go to the next one. Senator Cortez Masto. Donald Trump claims other countries will pay his tariff taxes. Here's the reality in Reno. Cold brew, regular, subtotal, 10% tariff adjustment. I mean, dude, if I'm sure that they have to tell you that at the door. Oh, yeah, by the way, we have to charge you a 10% tariff adjustment on everything. Which I don't really know what the hell that has to do with anything. I mean, was it an American beer that you bought? It probably was, to be honest. In which case, that kind of smells a little fraudy. But Reno, that's a Democrat area, isn't it? If I'm not mistaken, Reno? Pretty sure it is. I could be wrong, but it probably is. So let's see what they're saying in the comments here. Why don't you tell Starbucks to source their coffee from Hawaii? No tariffs. Excellent coffee. Why not support domestic production, Senator Cortez Masto? Or are you just grifting and virtue signaling? That's actually a fairly good point. Now, of course, Starbucks, they've got different coffees, different regions, of course, but still, that's still a very valid point. Why not just get their standard coffee from Hawaii? I mean, they could grow it out there. They do grow coffee out there. Then Reno is scamming their customers. They are. Don't patronize places that add line item tariffs. Everything will equalize and the tariffs will help reduce the national debt Biden created. Countries have been dumping products in the USA for decades and wouldn't let us sell our goods. Trump's trades deals are great. Now, that whole receipt thing, I mean, that could have been photoshopped, may not even be real. In fact, I would almost bet that it isn't real because that just doesn't sound legal Is that really legal that they could just in a restaurant just charge you some tariff tax? That doesn't make sense to me. Is that the best you got? Shut up and accept defeat. Just a reminder, at your next job, you won't be allowed to steal and walk away. Yep. Don't go to Starbucks. Simple solutions. Nothing says I support the American economy and the American worker more than look at this tariff I paid on an imported item. Yeah. Make your coffee at home and avoid that tariff. Buy American and you don't pay anything and employ your neighbor. Record high stock market and a surplus in June. Prior to income taxes, our entire government ran on tariffs alone. Yep. They absolutely did. That is 100% true. Back in like the 1800s, you know? So raising prices because of tariffs gets passed down to the customer, but higher taxes for companies don't get passed down to the customer. What about increasing labor costs? Do the companies eat that too? If I ever see that on a receipt, I get chances are I won't be frequenting that establishment again. I think they really don't. They have an obligation to tell you that straight up. Like if you go to a restaurant or a movie theater or whatever, and they charge like an 18% gratuity automatically, don't they have to tell you that? I think they're required to inform you of that. Like they can't just slip that in without you knowing. Get a grip, loser. Shop somewhere else. Do something constructive, you fucking idiots. Bar that charges $4.50 for a single beer and a made-up tariff adjustment is ripping you off twice. Yeah, I think it is. Especially if it's a domestic beer, which it probably is, because after all, this is a Democrat who took a picture of their receipt. Allegedly. Their receipt. Let's see. Bet the beer is a domestic draft and they saw her coming a mile away. Ha ha. What did I just say? Let's see. Show the entire receipt. You probably purchased a foreign product at $4.50. You could have bought a 6-pack of American-made products. I mean, I don't know about a 6-pack for $4.50. Once upon a time. Ratioed once again. Where are all of your supporters, Mastro? Let me guess. They don't speak English, so they refrain from commenting on your postings. Or just maybe they are hiding from ICE. Oh, ouch. Yeah, that's gouging. And you fell for that? Never forget the no buy option. You are an idiot. The debt is being paid off. Let's see. Rejoice. So let's go to the next one. Let's keep rolling. Oh, this one ought to be good too. Rep Pramilia J-Pal. Can't say her name. I know exactly who she is. She's in the news all the time. But I call her J-Pal because she looks like if she were a man, her name would be Jay. But she is not a pal to anybody. All right, so longer wait times, less access to care, complete losses of coverage. Trump's big bad betrayal will kick 250,000 Washingtonians off of their health care, shutter hospitals, and devastate communities. See, Trump's cuts could leave 250,000 Washingtonians. Why do I have trouble saying that? Without health coverage, shutter rural hospitals. I mean, we all know that's fake news. Not disabled, not elderly, only able-bodied and illegals. That is absolutely 100% correct. Those are the only ones getting kicked off, and also the ones who were double-dipping, the ones who were getting Medicare, and they already had either another government insurance policy or they had a different health insurance policy somewhere else. What was it, like 12 or maybe it was 20? It's like 20 billion some odd dollars worth of insurance policies that are getting canceled because they had like double insurance policies for each individual. Plus, there's a lot of people that are still on Medicare who've been dead for years and years. And they're also kicking them off too, rightfully so. Well, Washingtonians, hear me now. You're going to need better representation. That's it. No sugarcoating. No petty bow to wrap around this mess. Just the truth. The BBB Democrats that you elect, people smart enough to fight for you, people who can identify funding gaps, find rural hospitals like their lives depend on it because yours do. They aren't closed yet, but your representation, they're not fighters. They're actors, activists, showboaters, and dummies. You need to clean house. Start voting in blue dog Democrats, the kind that fight for working class people and actually represent the peaceful citizens in society. Dude, I think all Democrats are lost at this point. Any Democrat who still has any morsel of common sense, they're not Democrats anymore. You know, the Tulsi Gabbards of the world and so on. But because let's be honest, you say you're peaceful, but you've got a habit of smashing faces while screaming it over the bodies of people who disagree, and your PR is phenomenal, mostly peaceful protests. If you actually walk the walk, Republicans in your state might even be easier to work with. But when violence and smug moralism are the only game being played, don't act surprised when we start playing it back. Dang, your state relies on the federal government that much? What are you doing as lawmakers there? Nothing. We have a surplus in Texas. Maybe they should vote MAGA. Yeah. I mean, that might help. I was wrongly denied medical care at the King County Jail. Oh, yeah? Well, maybe you shouldn't visit the King County Jail then, stupid. Were they all on Obamacare? Yeah, probably. The government makes things worse. Yes, they do. Speak truth. Those people should not be receiving taxpayer-funded benefits in the first place. So they can get jobs that provide health care. Yeah, get a job. Bullshit, gaslighter, and so on. Move on to the next one. Moving on. Senator John Hickenlooper, you can't manage what you can't measure. In the area of extreme drought out west, we need all the tools we can to give us more accurate water predictions. Western lawmakers move to improve snow measurement in the Colorado. This one, probably not much to roast on, to be honest with you. Seriously, this is what you post? Must be a day ending in Y. We all had this 6 months ago. Seems silly, right? More money wasted in 6 months, and now yell when we need to fix it. I'm officially lost. Why are you okay with other countries taxing the U.S., but the U.S. not returning the favor? Right. All right. Yeah, that was short and sweet. Let's go to the next one here. Congresswoman Jennifer McClellan. ICE raids at courthouses have made communities less safe and sabotaged local enforcement efforts to build trust. I spoke with Laura Ingle on News Nation about what I've heard from local law enforcement and court officials in response to Chesterfield courthouse ICE raids. Well, I guess we'll give it a play.
Should more cities be complying with Trump's deportation agenda? It's a huge issue here.
So 2 points that are really important to make. State and local governments are not required by law to enforce immigration laws. That's the federal government's job. State and local governments have a lot on their plate already.
That's what ICE is doing.
But what we are seeing here in Virginia, here in my district, from these crackdowns, with the ICE raiding courthouses and public spaces, it is starting to impact public safety. My prosecutors, my sheriffs, and my police chiefs have seen a precipitous drop in calls to 911, particularly in immigrant communities, particularly in domestic violence cases. People are not willing to report crimes. They're not willing to
just not there anymore. They've been
cooperate with
deported.
police. They're not willing to be witnesses and testify in any cases. And my law enforcement is starting to see that and is worried that the trust that they had built across communities with citizens and non-citizens all across the region has broken down, and it is impacting public safety.
Well, and you know what's going to be nice? Once they deport a lot of people in this district, it's going to open up a lot of housing, a lot of rentals, a lot of apartments and townhomes and whatnot, because all of these illegals, they live somewhere. They're paying rent somewhere. I mean, a lot of them are still probably living under government assistance, or in hotels and things like that, but a lot of them are probably living in apartments and whatnot and still getting government assistance. So once they're all deported, that's probably going to drive down housing in a very big way, because I'll bet that's what contributed to housing being almost $400,000 for the average house across America. Because 25 million, 30, 40, 50 million, however many adult illegal immigrants that illegally immigrated into this country, that's why the housing's up so much. In part, there's many other reasons, but I bet that's one of the leading reasons. So anyway, Trump's EPA is... Oh, wait, hold on. Now there were only 2 comments, but we'll see. We'll see what they say down here. Watch the full interview. Okay, so that wasn't even one of them. You still haven't fixed the city of Richmond since the summer of 2020, tore everything down on Monument Avenue, and you promised the residents that it was going to be rebuilt. 5 years later, it's still the same as it was after the destruction. Care to explain or virtue signal? Yeah, she's probably going to virtue signal. I'm going to skip over the Doge AI. I mean, that thing replies to just about every lawmaker on the X platform. All right, so let's go to this one. Rep. Betty McCollum. Trump's EPA is weakening standards for mercury pollution, exposing Americans to dirty air that harms health and costs lives while letting the worst industrial polluters off the hook. I'm pushing back with Rep. McClellan, Rep. Paul Tonko, and over 70 of my colleagues in Congress. And I believe she's talking about coal power plants, if I'm not mistaken. I think I read something like that. Only a few comments here, but let's see how badly she gets roasted, if at all. This is so frustrating. Weakening mercury standards puts so many people at risk. More leaders need to step up. Who's been vocal about holding polluters accountable? Okay, well, they were in agreement. What are you doing to push back against genocide in Gaza perpetrated by the Israeli forces? Okay, well, they're Democrats too. All right, well, maybe there's not much pushback in this one. You tried to force vaccinate Americans. Democrat popularity is in the shitter, not shifter. So there was one pushback. So what? 33% roast rate. Richard Blumenthal, an impressive showing of support for families over billionaires in Westport on Saturday. Great spirit and energy. Okay. Stealing public money goods to give billionaires a windfall. No concentration camps. Oh my God, these people are brain dead. All right, so let's see. There's a lot of comments on this one. From Senator Blumenthal. Protesters pictured here are demonstrating their inability to either read or comprehend. I can't be sure without a survey. Yeah, dude, these people, they don't even know how to Google anymore. They can't even do a simple Google search anymore. I mean, like, that's legit. They honestly just don't know how to do that anymore. I can only assume that they prefer corruption over transparency and the use of public programs by Democrats to cover the plundering of American taxpayers. This one, multi-millionaire career politician. Yup. What would really be impressive is if you told them all what an actual liar you are and that you have no combat experience. Stolen valor. Hashtag stolen valor. More winning. Thank you, real Donald Trump. Ones of people impressive. So new ideas for the betterment of the American people, I see. Just Trump, orange man bad. You are such a beta, asshole. This is the dumbest propaganda. In fiscal year 2024, which runs from October 1st, 2023 to September 3rd, 2024, the U.S. federal government collected approximately $4.919 trillion in revenue. Whoa. Probably collected more than that, to be honest. They're going to collect more than that after the tariffs kick in. I count 9 to 10 people, including you. Pathetic. Just shows that nobody takes you serious. The fact is that you're just a scrawny little man who enjoys standing in his own poop. Ew. Oh, gross. America first. Let's see. An impressive showing and great spirit and energy, LMAO. All we see is denying dick, professional signs, and boomers waiting for the 4 o'clock blue plate specials. Wins the match against corrupt grifter, stolen valor leeches. If you can afford to live in Westport, you are not struggling. You're married into the billionaire Malkin family real estate empire through your wife, Cynthia Malkin. Spare us your no kings BS. Yeah, dude, a lot of these people are just completely full of shit. They're absolutely corrupt as all hell. Scum. Let's see. He's responding with Richard Blumenthal trashes POTUS Trump for celebrating the 250th anniversary of the Army. Here's a video of Richard Blumenthal talking about serving in Vietnam. The only problem is he never served in Vietnam. Uh-oh. Hey, it's only 11 seconds. Let's see what that's all about.
We have learned something very important since the days that I served in Vietnam.
Oh.
And you exemplify it. Whatever we think about the war, whatever we call it.
My God, what a scumbag. If he really didn't serve in Vietnam, he clearly said he was served in Vietnam. Old hippies strike again. MSNBC junkies. Yup. Orange man bad. Anytime you utter the word Trump, their hair just immediately spontaneously combusts into bright blue and pink flames. How did Richard get so rich? All I see is a bunch of brainwashed people that didn't read the bill. Resign, you POS. There's 8 people, Dick. You can't stop lying and gaslighting, can you, Dick? What an irrelevant clown. Westport is white privilege town. You all could not be more hypocritical. The average property value in Westport is $2 million. Average median income is $250,000 a year. Yeah, let's help those millionaires make it all make sense. Amen. It's almost like your constituents have no idea your family and friends are literal billionaires. Rich white liberals, the most hated demographic on earth. They even hate themselves. They do, actually. And as a result, they want to hate all of us too. They want everybody to hate everybody. Are they all older than you or younger than you? All 6 of you old bats, says the guy who spent no time in Vietnam, yet claims he did. Let's see. Didn't they try to bring illegals there, but Connecticut quickly bust them out? Whoa. Yeah, the same with Martha's Vineyard. They did the same. I think it was Texas. They were busting people to Martha's Vineyard, and they were immediately busting them right back out of Martha's Vineyard. Isn't that ironic? You know, these rich Democrats, they demand that all these illegals move into your neighborhood, but when they get a little taste of their own medicine, oh no, they can't get them out of their area fast enough because they're all fucking hypocrites. I hope bought extra Powerade and nitroglycerin tablets. It's sad when protests become social events for the elderly. The Democrats are funded by the richest. Everyone knows this. Wall Street is 90% Democrat. Yep. And also 90 to over 90% of the Washington, D.C. bureaucracy who votes, they vote Democrat. Not to mention a slew of people in Hollywood. I mean, look, you don't get a shitload of Hollywood celebrities coming out every 4 years for Republicans. I mean, how many celebrities who get political every 4 years? I mean, how many are on the Republican side versus the Democrat side? It's probably 90% Democrat, if not higher than that. Look, you could probably count on both hands how many Hollywood celebrities came out in support of Republicans or Trump in 2024. It's a very, very small number. Half dozen wealthy boomers in Westport is not an impressive showing at all. Don't you have a war to fight? Oh, wait. All right. Let's go to the next one. Yikesy. Rep. Dan Goldman, this area of Brooklyn has had almost no affordable housing built in the last 10 years. 2,400 additional affordable units at an average of 60% AMI, plus another roughly 2,000 market rate rental units will reduce, not increase, rent prices in neighboring areas, and subsidized commercial space will keep local businesses in the neighborhood. Let's see. There are homes renting for $5,000, $10,000, $12,000 a month blocks away from the BMT site. We're trying to build a port in thousands of units of housing that people who make $50,000, $60,000, $70,000 a year can afford. So they can, they're going to build these little pods. You're going to eat bugs, and you're just going to be happy. Or else. You're going to own nothing too, by the way. But anyway, I'm telling you, man, if they get rid of illegal immigrants, that's going to drive down the cost of rent because there's going to be a lot of rentals available. You bought your seat, you murderous AIPAC shill, AIPAC shill. You're leaving. Why not subsidize renters? Rent control is such a disaster for the housing supply. Nobody has a right to live in a certain area. If you can't afford the cost of living in your area, you must move somewhere you can afford to live. There's a lot of America with low rent. Yeah? It's got a point there. Yep, especially when these major cities, there's only a finite number of places to live. I mean, they can't just infinitely, there's not an infinite cheat code for places to live in a major city. Yeah, they can build it vertically, but it's very expensive to build vertically. Your water bill, for instance, it's going to be very expensive. Oh, and don't forget, the top 1% get a massive tax break, too. So that's from Mazie Hirono, Senator Mazie Hirono. The big ugly bill starter pack. No Medicare. The GOP. The national debt goes up. Dude, how much did the national debt go up under Biden? What was it, $7 trillion? Or maybe it was $8 trillion. I know it was at least 7. Hospitals getting closed. Health insurance is getting canceled. How any individual casts a vote for this retarded bitch is insane. This woman is incredibly stupid. Republicans extended tax cuts for the middle and low classes. Democrats tried to end them. As soon as Democrats regain control, they will raise taxes on everyone. They will. Oh, and don't forget, Native Hawaiians still have no homes to go back to after the fires. Yeah. Yep. People should be reminded of that all the time. And I'm sure the Pacific Palisades are going to be the same thing 20 years from now. Either there's still going to be nothing there, or it's probably going to be a bunch of very expensive high-rises or commercial districts, shopping centers and whatnot that large corporations, maybe even BlackRock, spend a shitload of money buying up. She does better with pictures. Math is hard for the senator from Hawaii. Good one. You have no credibility. Tax these nuts, cow. At some point, we need to quit asking who needs to pay more taxes and focus on where the hell all of our money is going. Yup. Thank you, Maisie. You've done so much work at dispelling the stereotype that all Asians are smart. Keep up the great work. The top 1% pays more than the bottom 90%, so when you cut taxes, they will benefit the most. Math isn't your strong suit. I'm assuming that's what they meant. Seemingly, you don't have a long suit. Okay, maybe a long suit. As you have read the bill, you should point out exactly where in this bill it states that. Don't forget, we're $34 trillion in debt. I actually think it's 37 at this point. And the last tax break for the middle class was in 2017. Where have you been all that time? Yep. Propaganda queen. Don't forget, your party did not vote for no taxes on tips, overtime, and SSS. Can't imagine if Kamala won. Yeah, dude, we talk about dodging a bullet. Things would be pretty catastrophic, to say the very least. So, let's see. Midterm elections, slice and dice. You mean, damn it, man, that's so frustrating when I keep fucking highlighting over. So you mean the same 1% that vote and donate overwhelmingly for and to Democrats? There's a resign. We all get tax breaks. You're an imbecile of politics and a disgrace for your voters. Crazy Maisie. Big ugly Maisie. Top 1% pay more in taxes in a month than you'll pay in your entire life. Yep. All right, let's keep rolling. Oh, another J-Pal, huh? By cutting Medicaid, Republicans are stealing from the American people, all so that billionaires can buy more yachts. I bet she has a yacht. I bet she does. Total lie, you terrorist-loving POS. Just blurting out nonsense that your low IQ constituents will blindly follow. With Predator. Just a funny, witty image. You can make all the accusations you want about Republicans, but without the receipts, your words are worthless. Shameful that a representative of Washington State will lie to deceive Washingtonians. Provide proof. Imagine everyone having to pay for Medicare A, B, and D and a Medigap plan and being denied medical coverage. Do you really want that? The only people stealing from me are the bums who are too lazy to work, but who have been getting my tax dollars anyway. Go get a job. Pretty much all of us have to do it. It's not a big ask. From the illegals, you mean? Proof of the voting stupidity of coastal Washingtonians to elect such partisan hacks. Yeah, 100%. Here's Medicaid spending under the Republican plan. Show where and when spending is cut. Oh, there you go. Actual versus forecasted Medicaid spending with final BBB impact in the millions of dollars. This source is from the Congressional Budget Office, by the way. And that's forecasted out all the way up to 2035, it looks like. Or at least 2034. There you have it. This woman smokes really strong weed. Yeah, she probably does. Replace politicians with project managers or AI. Ooh. I don't know about having Skynet running DC, but I'm sure they're probably on a path to doing so. Because if Democrats can't get all the power, then they're just going to try to push it off into AI, because the left, I mean, let's be real, the progressives and the left and people who align with modern liberalism, I mean, a lot of those people, they're the ones that have been developing this AI shit. Silicon Valley, I mean, they're not a bunch of conservatives out there. I mean, let's be real. Anyway, you are crazy. J-Pal, she proves herself the fool. Again, Republicans are tracking down waste and fraud, but Pramila states that her bureaucrats should fondle the money before very little is spent for the good of the people. Pramila's way will fatten her and her pals and leave us broke. Yeah, they will. Is this you? Pramila J-Pal. Her estimated net worth is $1.53 million. Huh, isn't that funny? Probably owns a yacht, too. Question for Rep. J-Pal. Do you support non-citizens receiving Medicaid? Yeah, she does. Spoiler alert. Why billionaires? What about the millionaires like you? There are only 800 billionaires in the United States, and 70% of them are Democrats. Which billionaires are Trump helping buy yachts? Can you name one? That's a very good point. I don't know if that's actually true, but I would not be the least bit surprised. As opposed to the government stealing from taxpayers? The yachts, you bought them through USAID? Uh-oh. Yup. USAID. It's a very good thing that we shut that thing down. Why doesn't Congress fix the billions in waste, fraud, and abuse in the Medicaid system? Because they don't want to. How are they stealing? Are you intelligent enough to explain? The billionaires that control the DNC, Democrat billionaires at the DNC, want you to know billionaires are evil. I know, we know that y'all are evil. All right, let's move on to Martin Heinrich. Buying your first home is more than owning property. It's a source of pride. Unfortunately, it's out of reach for too many. my first-time homebuyer tax credit act would change that and give every working family equal opportunity to the American dream of owning a home. Yeah, just more government money that we're just going to dump into people's laps who go out and buy a home they can't afford. Oh, by the way, maximum of $15,000. What was the average value or the average cost for each house in America right now? I think it's $400,000 on average across America. And in most areas, I'm sure it's significantly more than that. So $15,000. I mean, I don't even think most banks would even they won't even give you a mortgage if you only have $15,000 to put down on a house. I don't believe so. I think a lot of them, they require 10%, which would be somewhere in the neighborhood of $40,000. So this dude, moron. Not many comments. We'll just see what they say though. More people need to buy property. As property owners, they'll actually pay taxes to fund their kids' school, their county town maintenance projects, etc. Then these new property owners might start asking another school bond or feed other people's kids all year long. Yeah, I mean, property taxes is a big problem. That's also a reason why a lot of housing properties or a lot of houses have skyrocketed in quote-unquote value, because the local property appraisal offices are artificially driving up the quote-unquote values so they can take more property tax money from people. Hint, getting Powell off this biased ego trip and start reducing interest rates would be more helpful. I mean, personally, I'm kind of on the other end. I think interest rates should probably go up a little more because that's how you curb inflation. Now, I know inflation, it's gotten better, but I don't know. Yeah, I know it's definitely too late for that. I think back in 2021 that the Fed should have increased interest rates to like 15%, but that's just me. 2055 debt equals 149.7 trillion per CBO. Where exactly are you planning on fabricating the money for this? More bilking of our children's fiscal future via massive, incompetent Fed-Gov deficit spending and subsidies. Now, remember what I said. The $37 trillion that we have in debt currently, we have to pay $1 trillion every year in just interest on that debt. So if it goes up to $100 trillion in debt in total, we're going to have to pay roughly $3 trillion a year in just interest, which doesn't do anything to reduce the debt at all. I'm telling you, man, they're turning us into economic slaves. Little by little, our grandchildren, they'll be indentured servants to the government. Or to those who the government owes money to, in fact, which is even more scary. Have you done anything to try to lower the prices of homes so people can afford to buy them? The prices of homes just keep going up, up, up. They are now at ridiculous, very high prices. Tax credits come from taxpayers' money, so taxpayers' money would subsidize new homeowners or home buyers. Yeah, and you could probably make the argument that if everybody got $15,000 to put down toward a new house, that would just incentivize everybody who's trying to sell a house to just increase the cost of their house by $15,000. Why wouldn't they? Why wouldn't they do that? That's probably what would happen. Laughable. Home prices in New Mexico are out of reach for most people. $15K isn't shit. Democrats have ruined our state and sold the whole country out overseas. You helped make it even worse. Shut up. Keep your tax credit. I'm sure the illegal aliens you protect will use it. Absolutely. Let's go on and on. For an infant, childcare costs $22,000 annually. Tuition for a state college costs on average $8,786 annually. I somehow believe that. Oh, okay, for an in-state college, maybe. Yeah, it might be about that. This is unsustainable for families. Congress has to pass my bill to offer care at $10 a day while paying employees at least $24 an hour. Dude, if you run a daycare and you can't charge a family more than $10 per child per day, why would you keep your daycare open? You wouldn't. All these daycares would shut down overnight. They would. Of course, unless they subsidize all the rest of it, which I'm sure is what he would really be planning on doing. He's like, no. It would still cost $22,000 annually. It's just, we're just going to take more tax money from the locals to pay the remaining amount of that. And then, people with children, they'll only have to pay $10 a day, while the taxpayers have to pay the other, 95% of it. It's absolutely insane. It's fucking ridiculous. And who's footing the bill for this, Congressman? Taxpayers again. President Trump fought to lower costs through growth, not government expansion. Why would working families fund another bloated program doomed to fail? No. Implement the 18% rule. No full-time employees for a company that employs 25 or more people will be paid no less than 18% of the highest paid compensation for the company, including all forms of compensation in the calculation. The 18% rule raises all boats and ties. Oh man, dude, this just goes on and on. Pay your CEO $1 million a year. Yeah, whatever. You can read it all. He's just given ideas. Tuition at a state college does not involve being responsible for every moment of the student's existence on your campus. It does not require 100% time on task attention to every single detail of their eating and bowel habits, etc. I agree it's too expensive, but comparing it to tuition is ridiculous. Your plan is unsustainable. You may be the most economically illiterate rep I've seen on Twitter. What about parents where the mother is at home? They have to pay for other people's childcare too? Yeah, that's what he wants. So you want to remove the bottom rungs from the employment ladder. No starter jobs allowed. Yeah. Pretty much. I mean, is that what he said? Did he say, yeah, paying employees at least $24 an hour? So that basically means that if somebody lives in his district and they're earning currently today, they're earning, let's say, $23 an hour, and the minimum wage is like, let's say it's $15 an hour. And if somebody's earning $23 an hour right now, and they raise it up to $24 an hour, yeah, in the short term, they might be getting an extra $1 an hour, but they've been busted down to bare minimum wage in the long run, which is damaging to everybody who is earning $24 an hour or less. It only benefits those who are earning minimum wage currently. Anybody who's earning $1 or more over minimum wage, that's going to be much worse for them. Yeah, this minimum wage bullshit, it's been proven time and time again that it's more destructive than beneficial across the board. So anyway, let me just read just a couple more here. Let's see. Childcare, $22K a year. College, $8K a year. New bill promises $10 a day, 24-hour wages. Sounds nice until you realize they're not helping you raise your child. They're helping the system raise your child so you can clock in for them. Reclaim your family. Amen. Especially if you live where your family is, because still a lot of people, they have people in their family like grandparents, or they might be lucky enough to have a cousin or a sibling who is a stay-at-home parent, and they could watch your kids and you can give them a little bit of money and save a lot. But yeah, there's still a lot of people who still do that, the ones who were lucky enough. Anyway, when government spends... Oh, wait, where did it go? Oh, yeah, when government spends to make things affordable, it usually doesn't work out. Yeah, almost never works out. If the state would get out of it completely, capitalism would solve this problem. It would. Not fixing the problem that way. Who will pay for the childcare? Taxpayers. Either that, or if he's like, no, $10 a day, that's it. No, we're not going to take any tax money. That's all they pay. They just pay $10 a day. That's it. The end. And then you'll see every single daycare and childcare facility in that entire area close up overnight. Look, and he's not really addressing the elephant in the room, and I know I didn't want to get into this. However, it's the insurance companies. They're largely to blame for the reason why daycare is so expensive, because healthcare or insurance premiums have skyrocketed in recent years, and that's why childcare has also skyrocketed, because they have to pay their insurance premiums. So go after them. Go after the insurance. Because we all know insurance companies, they're one of the primary drivers, them and government, as to why everything is so damn expensive today. As more couples remain childless due to the expense, we end up with fewer future workers to pay in, thus rendering Social Security insolvent. That's not making America great again, is it? Nope. The solution is to send infants to school where childcare is free. I mean, isn't that what school really is? A babysitting service for free? Yeah, for most people it is. I agree with Roe with government regulations for wages, so on and so forth. Insurance are driving a lot of costs that are passed to the parents. The regulations need to be reduced, or the government needs to step in. Schools act as childcare, but just for kids 4 and up. Social programs and military spending are the big reasons we ended up with such high inflation. It is. Let's go on to the next one. See who else is getting roasted. Congresswoman Sarah Jacobs. By the way, these were all just a few hours ago. This is 5 hours ago. Like that one was 5 hours ago. California could lose $275 billion that could be spent on building housing, improving transit, or lowering the cost of childcare because of mass deportations of people who aren't criminals and who are contributing to our economy. Make it make sense. Here we go. What makes no sense is putting illegal aliens ahead of American citizens. President Trump fights for our families, not lawbreakers. If California wants to save billions, try cutting waste and crime, not rewarding illegal entry. Why is enforcing the law now controversial? Yep. And also that high-speed rail bullshit. I mean, how much money do they spend on that? Like $50 billion on it? Maybe even more than that. All on nothing. California spent $15 billion. There it is, $15 billion. I thought it was a lot more than that on a high-speed rail to nowhere. We may have a money management issue, unfortunately. It is a felony to hire illegal immigrants and deport them all. Democrats are a disaster. You're a disaster of a representative. No, you make sense of your post. You are asserting that we want foreigners that are occupying our houses and schools illegally to contribute to the economy. That's counterintuitive. Yeah, that's a good point. Easy. If they are here illegally, they need to self-deport and apply to enter legally. There. Fixed it for you. Yep, there you go. I just wish he'd get caught trying to lower our bills. Trump caught cheating while playing golf in Scotland? Yeah, right. I somehow doubt that. Should we play it?
Soccer. 但是希望我们录国领上。
The hell are they fucking talking about? Idiots. I mean, I'm not great at golf, but I didn't really see much there. Proud to join Elevate Bridgeport, celebrating its 5th year of impressive accomplishments. Let's see. Thank you for great volunteers. I don't know. That slipped in somehow. I'm not going to read any, there were only 3 comments anyway for that one. But anyway, Rep. George Latimer, the Trump administration is gutting FEMA, our nation's largest emergency management agency. Cutting emergency preparedness funding doesn't prevent disasters. It just makes them harder to handle. Once again, it's Americans who will pay the price. How long is this? All right. It's about a minute. Be back out of this a little bit.
The harrowing videos and stories out of Texas earlier this month are another reminder of how unpredictable and dangerous weather has become. Climate change is fueling more frequent and extreme weather events, and the federal government has a duty to be ready to respond quickly. What happened in Texas shows we need to strengthen FEMA, not weaken it. That means making sure the agency is fully staffed and fully funded. That means answering the phones. Unfortunately, the administration is doing the opposite, gutting our nation's largest emergency management agency. As a New Yorker,
they love big
I saw
government,
the flooding in Texas and immediately thought of hurricane season on the East Coast. It's been a few years since a major storm hit our region. We're due. And local and state agencies are preparing.
Why is this his fight?
But this year they are doing so without the help of FEMA's pre-disaster mitigation grants because the administration canceled the program. Cutting emergency preparedness funding doesn't prevent disasters. It just makes them harder to handle. Once again, it's Americans who will pay the price. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Yeah, whatever. Oh, there's no comments on that. All right, well, that was a waste of time. All right. Anyway, DHS, I mean, I guess nobody gave a shit about him. I mean, I guess the dude's completely irrelevant. DHS must stop engaging in illegal behavior.
The Department of Homeland Security is engaging in illegal activity in California. They are going to random parks and businesses like Home Depot and just routing up brown people. That is illegal. In order to arrest someone, you need probable cause. To detain someone, you need something called reasonable suspicion. You cannot use race as a basis for either probable cause or reasonable suspicion. And a federal judge has now said so. A federal judge has said that these mass immigration raids are illegal. And so we hope that the Department of Homeland Security will stop engaging in this illegal behavior. And we've got the court rulings to back it up. And hopefully they'll be upheld on appeal as well.
That's what he's dependent on, low IQ constituency. All right, let's see what they're saying down here. Ted, you work for the American people. Get off your lazy ass. The only illegal behavior I see here is the illegal aliens who broke and continue to break immigration laws, Ted. They are here illegally, Ted. Fuck that federal judge and fuck you. Hope you will get deported as well. Ooh, shut the fuck up, you little weirdo. All illegal invaders are going to be deported. If you dress like a day laborer hanging out at an gathering location for illegal alien day laborers and you run in an attempt to evade being spoken to by immigration officers, and finally, when engaged, don't speak English, the color of your skin is irrelevant because you've already provided the reasonable suspicion needed for being temporarily detained, questioned, and depending on the response given for the PC for arrest, or given the PC for arrest. Ill-informed politicians are no more than corrupt partisans. Yeah, and chances are they probably have a fingerprint scanner right on hand. I mean, one of many tools that they have to prove that you're not an illegal immigrant if they do just so happen to detain you, if that is indeed what they're even doing in the first place. No. Enforcing our laws isn't illegal, LOL. So much twisting and gaslighting with you people. What a weird way to say enforcing federal immigration law. They are all going home, Ted. Nothing you can do about it. Shut up, TedBot. Ted Lieu is trying to get our federal agents killed. Ted, nobody takes you seriously. Nope. That photo looks familiar. I suggest going back to your country without being arrested. They don't need probable cause, just deport them all ASAP. So should California racketeering politicians. F you, Ted. Enforcing the law is not illegal, Teddy. Trying to obstruct them is. Hopefully you get locked up next. Yeah, allowing 20 million to invade our southern border. That was all above board. All really legal. What a clown. How hard I pronounce the F in fuck yeah, I voted for this. Okay. Let's see. Look in the mirror, Lou. Radical left. Sanctuary policies needs to stop. The harboring, supporting, and protecting of illegal foreign nationals that have invaded our country through illegal means is in itself an illegal act and a national security threat. Or illegals should obey American law. You must be the CCP. It's not illegal. They are not. It's not illegal. Smarten up. Do your homework. GFY, Ted. Illegal aliens must stop engaging in illegal behavior and self-deport. It's called enforcing the law, Ted. Look it up. You may learn something. All right, let's go to another one, man. The roast. Tammy Duckworth, it is an outrage that there is still not enough aid making it to the Gazans in need, and I'm horrified to see innocent civilians being targeted and killed as they try to seek out aid. Rubio needs to address GHF's complicity in the starvation and killing of innocent Palestinians. Oh, I have a feeling what's going to be said down here. It's an outrage. Israeli hostages are still being held. Your gripe is with Hamas, not Rubio. Yup. It's an outrage that they're holding Israeli hostages. Senator, while others walk off the field, we stayed and fed 95 million meals and counting. We continue to call on the UN and others to join us. This isn't a competition. It's a humanitarian crisis. Let's work together to get the food to the people. Yeah, well, I mean, Gaza Humanitarian Foundation, obviously. I mean, they're not going to denounce Hamas, are they? No, of course not. Of course not. Talk to the UN and Hamas. So disingenuous. It's an outrage. They care more about their war and hostages than their people, but Gaza has always been like that. Crazy you support Hamas. They do. But they don't want to say it, but they do. How about getting your sleepy ass over there and hand it out if you're so concerned? Then we can replace you with someone who's concerned with America's problems. Call your Hamas buddies and tell them to let the people have the supplies. But yet you never denounce those who are attacking those countries because, let's face it, you receive funding from them, right? Yeah, probably. Oh, wait a minute. Did they bring the homework? Yep, AIPAC, AIPAC. According to available data, she received significant contributions from pro-Israel groups, interesting, including the American Israel Public Affairs Committee and its affiliated PACs. A report from Code Pink, a grassroots organization, claims that she received over $700,000 from the pro-Israel lobby since she took office. What? Oh, that is interesting. The outrage is you. 30 trucks full of aid was stolen by Hamas today under the watchful eye of the UN. And they all will be. They could send in 3,000 trucks and they're all going to be stolen by him because Hamas has the guns. At least I'm pretty sure they do. Let's see. Can't we all just get along? I wish Hamas and the IDF both complete victory. All right, whatever. Actually, the IDF needs to just quit offering ceasefire deals that are inevitably rejected and just root Hamas out altogether? Well, I mean, that would be a start. The U.S. is the only country trying to help Jackass. Why don't you call some friends in other countries and ask them to help? Tell Hamas to surrender and release the hostages, and all will be well. This is what losing a war looks like. Hamas can return the hostages and surrender, or they need to be wiped off the face of the earth. Anyway. Republicans are ripping healthcare away from millions. This is from Rep. Greg Stanton. And shuttering rural Arizona hospitals. Go give tax breaks to billionaires. I mean, did he actually bring the receipts? Hold on, rural hospitals at risk. I mean, look, the big beautiful bill, it allocated $50 billion for rural hospitals. Of course, they conveniently always leave that out. Which I'm sure that's probably described in here. Well, maybe not. I'm not seeing a number, but it is. It's in there somewhere. Unfortunately, Americans in the next generations will be fixing this mess. I couldn't get an appointment for 3 months due to the ill health of illegals taxing the local health centers. Throwing money at it doesn't fix the problem. Typical blame game is so Biden-ish. Dude, you sound like a broken record. Can you name even one constituent that's had healthcare ripped away from them? Yeah, no shit. Can you name one? How does one connect to the other? Can you name one, just one hospital that has closed? I bet he can't. You mean illegals? Do you Democrats have any other message? All you do is parrot the same old tired lies over and over again. All you really do, devoid of any original thought or independent action of your own. No wonder you are all so irrelevant and have no credibility. Taking healthcare from illegal aliens, right? All right, let's move on. From Rep. Jimmy Panetta, because of a targeted provision in the majority's reconciliation law, Planned Parenthood clinics like the one in Santa Cruz are losing Medicaid funding and forced to shut down. Okay, and together we will fight back with legislation to repeal the ban and keep healthcare accessible. Yeah, let's keep abortion accessible, disguised as healthcare. It's all healthcare. Oh, there's no roast. No roast for that one. But yeah, how about you just keep your damn legs closed? How about you practice abstinence? How about you start there? Then you won't ever have to worry about that shit. You won't have to have your children gutted from your womb. Let's see. Senator John Hickenlooper, ICYMI, a few weeks ago, we took back the Kennedy Center and threw a pride party. Read all about it in the latest edition of our Giddy Update newsletter. Only 3 comments for this. You can tell it's a slow day. It's Sunday. It's slow. There's not many replies happening really today. I saw the pictures. It was one small room at the Kennedy Center. You are a true politician making a bigger thing than the thing really was. Oh, and who really cared? If Rick Grinnell hadn't posted, I wouldn't have known. Big whoop. A rainbow religious event at the Kennedy Center. All right, yeah, that's what it looks like. Anyway, see what else we got down here. Someone's got 38 comments. Well, I mean, I've already read through hers a couple times. I'll just move on from her. Families in Gaza are starving to death. Meanwhile, Trump and Netanyahu are using taxpayer dollars to replace international aid orgs in Gaza with mercenaries, leading to even more deaths. Enough. I led 20 senators in calling on Trump to stop supporting this barbarity. I mean, are Jewish Democrats, I mean, if that's even still a thing anymore, are they still donating to the Democratic Party at this point? Or to this individual, at least? Families in Gaza are starving. Meanwhile, in your district, veterans are homeless. Fentanyl is flooding the streets. Children can't read past the 3rd grade. Single mothers are skipping meals to afford rent. Gun violence is daily, and entire zip codes look like war zones. But you want to talk about Gaza? Trump didn't fund mercenaries. He defunded corrupt UN agencies that funneled aid into Hamas-run networks, and Netanyahu is defending Israel from terrorists launching rockets from hospitals. This isn't about food. It's about funding your globalist alliances while abandoning your own constituents. How about you feed the hungry and protect the vulnerable in Maryland before grandstanding for Gaza? You're not a humanitarian. You're a hypocrite in a Senate seat. Ooh, man. Got absolutely bodied with that one. 100%. Ask Hamas to release the hostages and it will all end. Do it, you vile propagandist. How many congressmen women stole aid money? We would like to know. Who gives aid to a country you're fighting against? Hamas needs to love its citizens and let the aid through. You are such a douche. There is zero possibility that I will care about starving Gazans before the release of the starving hostages. Nothing that anyone says can change this. Nothing. Liar. No one is starving there, and if they were, it would be because Hamas is hoarding the food. They shoot people who try to get it. Sickening to lie like that just to besmear Israel and Trump. Are you that stupid you don't know that these international aid organizations are collaborating with Hamas, or are you just evil? He's evil. You and your family have a well-documented history of supporting and defending our adversaries rather than safeguarding America and its allies. Ooh, and you brought receipts. Let's see. Palestinian youth at a crossroads. This is what's highlighted. I know it's really small, but I'll read it. Davidson College's Anna Van Hollen examined the role of youth in the conflict between Israelis and Palestinians over natural resources, highlighting a Palestinian rights group called the Green Antifada that has planted over 70,000 olive trees. I don't know. So you're like the 5th Democrat I've seen post this. You must all get a memo at the same time and then all post together. Yeah, of course they do. And the same thing happens with the mainstream media. As soon as one person posts something, it's just instant copy paste. It's probably all done probably by AI at this point. They probably just probably look through all the accounts constantly, and as soon as somebody posts something that the AI deems worth reposting, they just instantly repost it. And they'll change some words around because, AI bots can do that. They could reword it to make it sound more authentically theirs. Anyway, Hamas is responsible for prolonging this conflict. If they surrendered, disarmed, and returned the hostages, it would end. But they refuse. They let civilians starve to advance their goal of destroying Israel. No, they aren't. The iconic picture recently circulating wasn't of a child starving, but one suffering from a serious neurological disease. Here's what they didn't show you. The baby wearing a diaper, his older brother, healthy, alert, and visibly well-fed. There you have it. Well. The propaganda continues to propagate. All right. Let's go to this one. It's where it should be from Congressman Greg Murphy. Oh, wait. No, hold on. I think I reached the end. I think I did. I forgot to clear my bookmarks from the last video. Let me see. Or did I? Yeah. This is all pertaining to my last video. I did a video yesterday about the revelations from Tulsi Gabbard that she dropped about the Russia hoax and Obama's involvement. So I did indeed reach the end. This was the last one that I had. So, and this one was from about 3 hours ago. So that's it. That's all I got for today for Democrats being roasted. And if I come across some more in the future, I might do another video on this. So, but if you like the video, please like, comment, subscribe to the channel if you have a chance to do so. And I thank you very much for watching, and God bless America.